This is going to be the last video about knitting the onesie, and this time we're going to talk about installing the zipper. Of course we're going to need a zipper. We're also going to need some needles, and it's important that it's not these types of needles because they are blunt. We do need something like this one, which has a large head, so we know that our yarn can go through it, but it also has a point to it. And then of course we need the same yarn as we used for making the onesie. Start by just threading needle and cut off around double the amount double the length of your zipper. This zipper is way too long. I'm just using this to show you because it's a nice contrast with the green yarn. So I'm not too worried about getting all the way to the top. But now I have a threaded needle, and I'm just going to create a little knot here at the end. To begin, go into your zipper from the back. Put it in a loop like that, and then go back into the same place as you came out. And don't pull it all the way tight, because what you need to do is you need to go up here. So again, from the back you're going to go into this, stab through it, and then you can pull it up and pull this. So don't pull this too tight, and it should be about the height of one row on your onesie. So if this is too tall, then you need to make it smaller. I'm going to make this bigger than we need just for demonstration. To make the next loop or stitch, you just again you make the loop here, and then you go into the stitch, pull it through. I like to just hold this loop like that, and then again you're going to go into from the back into the loop, and then you can tighten it, but not too much. So you should continue doing this all the way up and also on the other side. And it's not super important that you do it from the bottom to the top both times, but I think it looks a little neater when you do the same thing both times. So don't, or you can if you really want to, but I wouldn't work all the way up and then all the way down. I would work here to the top, so in the end, and then start back here on the other side and do the same. just have this little sample. Again, I didn't actually bother finishing it, so I just collected the two sides here and did a couple of rounds. So we just have a piece down here with where we can sew in the little end here, and then we have the side here, and we did or maybe you did this with me. Maybe you rolled the edge, maybe you didn't. I'm going to show you how to sew in the zipper if you did roll the edge. If you didn't, just do a normal, what is that called? Where you sort of go into the stitch, go in, and then go up between. So you're basically catching the purl bump at the back every time. We're going to do somewhat the same here. So if you have been using a very nice pointy needle up until now, and you have one of these, it might be nice to switch. And that's just because we're going to go in between stitches now, and it's a little easier with a blunt needle rather than with a pointy one. So I'm just switching to this one, but you don't have to. It's not as critical here. It's really important that you have a pointy one to go into the zipper, but when we switch to this, it's not crucial. To attach your yarn, do a little knot or something similar. And you're just going to go from the back to the front, in here. Or you could leave, I think that is what I would do if I wanted a really nice result. I'll just leave a long tail here to weave in, but for the sake of this. Now take your zipper and place it. And it's very nice to just sort of see how it's going to sit, so you know how much room you have to bury this last little plastic thing here. So you're just going to place that as you want, and just so that it looks nice. And what we need to do, we could perhaps unzip it. Might make it a little easier to see. So when you found a placement, you can sort of just position your zipper, and now we're just going to sew these stitches onto these stitches. And you're going to go into the next stitch on the onesie. So you're constantly avoiding the edge here, or you're not. You're going into the edge, which is rolling over, but you're not going into that long stitch that you have there. That might be really difficult to see. We might get a little closer. And then the other thing you need to do is go through both legs here on this stitch. And then you go back onto your side here in the stitch you just came out of, and then you're poking up into the next stitch, into the middle of the next stitch, and then you'll go back onto the zipper. And just tighten it as you go along. So again here, I'm going to go into the stitch on the edge, which is rolling. And you're going to poke up between that and the next stitch. And then you'll go into the corresponding stitch on your zipper. And then just tighten it. Now it may look a little bad now. We have this weird thing here, but the point of this whole sort of rolling edge thing is that when it's been worn, or when you put it on, it basically rolls over, so this becomes very straight, and you won't actually really notice. So again, just into the stitch you just came out of, and then up into the next stitch. I know I'm blocking the light here, but and then back onto the zipper. And you'll just give it a little tuck and then straighten it back out so that you're sure that you have a tight stitch running up through it. See, this is the issue with making knots. I should have just left a long tail to sew in. Would be a better solution. So you'll just do that on both sides. And you'll have your little zipper. So let me show you if I can find I had it here somewhere. When you do this for the entire way up, as you can see here, it actually does sort of close in on itself, which I think looks very nice. And when you open it, if you really want to see sort of where it has been sewn in, all you'll get is a stitch here that lays on top, and then you'll get the every point at which you had stabbed into the zipper. But you do need to put in some work to actually see that. And on the back of the zipper you just have one stitch running all the way down, and I think that's very nice. And at the bottom here I actually used the zipper to close the last gap from when we joined those two rounds together. I just sewed back and forth across the zipper to close that gap. Because it is, I don't think it's impossible to have that be a gapless join, but it was very, very difficult, and it was easier to just have the zipper do it for me. So this is the smallest size. I should also say, if you have a bigger size, you'll have a little bit more room down here for the zipper. For the very smallest size, you really have the zipper all the way down into where the legs begin. Yeah. It's not invisible, but close enough. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next Friday.